You good?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Welcome to another very special episode of Grind Culture Podcast. I am Ed.
I am Colton.
And last week we had so much fun in getting to know Colton's new home and just kind of wrapping up the equipment episode of the podcast. And we have so much more to say, I think, about espresso machines, but I think we left off at a good spot. That is not to say that we'll bring it up more often, but special episode aside, me and Colton are going to try to experiment with I think new locations, or just me doing different things with the thumbnails, or just promotion on our Instagram. If you can follow us, I'm going to try to do better about just kind of hyping up our videos. I think that's something I kind of wanted to start doing, opposed to just posting a thumbnail. It's hey, our episode's up,
Yep.
But just a quick update, because we are at episode 20, and again, it's a very special episode for us because 20 episodes of a podcast. We talked about it. I never really thought I knew we'd get here, but I just didn't know the amount of time it would take us to get here, or if we were going to be able to commit to get here.
Right.
Because there's a lot of episodes, there's a lot of podcasters that try to do this, or people just try to do projects in general and they just don't end up hashing out. But
yeah,
we stuck it out, and
20 episodes, and we probably only missed 3 weeks that we had to, things happen. So that's pretty good.
Yeah. So. That being said, we do have our first returning guest, and I'm sure a staple into the Grind Culture Podcast guest resume, and that is our good friend again, Mr. Mac Gooden, aka Cameron, aka just our very good friend.
Hey.
Once again, welcome, man.
Once again.
So excited to be the first return guest. This is so sick. And for the big 2-0. Congrats, guys.
The big 2-0. Maybe you'll come again for the big 2-5, the big 3-0.
Come again?
Yeah.
Don't. See, that's what I knew. I knew you were fishing, dude. I knew you were fishing. Anyways, so we brought in Cameron. We not only that do we enjoy Cameron's presence here, we enjoy his conversation, our back and forth, but we also wanted to catch up with you because, not to put a little bragging on you or anything, but I think you were telling me that he was the most watched episode that we had on Grind Culture.
Yeah, still till.
Wait, really?
It holds true, man.
So you hold the record. Maybe we could beat.
Did you just pull me back in for some views?
No, we didn't.
Is that why I'm here?
No, actually.
Just kidding.
Yeah. So.
No way, man. We talked about it. We were gonna have you back again and again, and we'll continue to, because this is just.
So not only do
the best time, man.
Not only do we love you, the people love you.
Yeah.
At least the people that we know so far.
Happy to hear.
Yeah.
So I just a quick catch up with Cam. What's going on in your life? Anything's changed since last time we spoke? I mean, we spoke episode 5, I think, which was roughly 15 weeks ago, a little bit more because we skipped some episodes. So what's going on with Cameron right now as we speak?
Shoot, man. Still managing coffee shop, Abode Coffee, Wildemar. Come check us out. We're on the up and up always, trying to serve more people, meet more people, just make more connections in the community. Man, what else has changed? I fixed the AC in my car.
Nice,
dude.
Mine does not work. So hey,
that'll be my next project then, because
nice.
I just figured it out. It took me 6 months, but we're here. Man, nothing more. Just I'm such a work person. I'm either at work or I'm recharging at home. So
yeah.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to mention, you made us coffee.
Yeah.
And to me, it's good. I was saying that before we started recording. But I'm not surprised that you do this, but Colton, and I want you to touch base on this a little bit.
Okay.
You've been over here roasting your butt off, just trying all these new different kind of beans, or that you've been purchasing or been getting, or just trying out from different roasters. I've personally been enjoying it. Yeah. Because you're letting me cup it, you're letting all of us cup it.
Yeah.
And some of them have been absolutely delicious.
Best coffees I've ever had, for sure.
Yeah. Why don't you just give us where have you been getting them, and what you've been doing, and because I haven't seen you do this until recently.
Right.
But it seems like you just learned that machine. I always fart the name about it, or forget the name about
Akawa.
it. The Akawa.
Yes.
So why don't you tell us what have you been doing here, just like in the corner, just are you trying to like to perfect roasting like in a different manner than like what we have here, or are you just trying to like familiarize yourself with like notes and stuff? What's going on over here? What are you doing?
So we've had a couple coworkers, and they've been really getting into roasting, especially our coworker Nate, who you guys are aware of. He kind of pushes me to know my profession a little better, and so I'm like, man, I jumped into roasting, and that was pretty much it. You know, I roasted and I made work happen around roasting, but I never really got involved in the roasting and learning it so much to where I know what's going on exactly, to searching for like really fun new coffees and how to roast them and all that stuff. So I was like, you know what? I need to learn how to use our sample roaster anyways, so why not kill two birds at one stone, or really three birds with one stone, because I wanted to buy really fun, good coffees that I've never had before. I've wanted to train myself how to use the sample machine, and I wanted to also bring our team more into cupping and getting, you know, their coffee knowledge more down. Like, this is how coffee should taste. This is why it tastes a certain way. So there was all that side of things, and I went on this journey to find the blueberry. And for anybody that knows what I'm talking about, is blueberry is the number one note that people look for in coffee. And for people that get into coffee, you can almost, most of them will say like, I just tasted this coffee and I tasted blueberries. You know, and that's like what changed their mind about what coffee actually is. So I got to this place where I was like, you know what? I never really have had that blueberry taste. Like, I think it's false, you know. I don't really believe it. So I was like, I went on this hunt for like a blueberry coffee, and we got a bunch of coffees in, and he was like, no, like our first three, and then I finally found this coffee from Ethiopia. Well, it was an Ethiopian heirloom, but it was grown in Costa Rica, and it was just a like first sip of the spoon, just blueberry in my face. Awesome. Best coffee I've ever had.
It was crazy. And that was from where again? Hasia?
Yeah. So shout out to Hasia Coffee Source in, I believe they're in Santa Ana or Orange. They're somewhere in Orange County. They supply some really, really good coffees, like small lot coffees, and they're super like experimental with anaerobic and carbonic macerated and all those things. So I'm kind of on this like, I don't know, I need to stop, but I'm like buying coffee and
don't stop.
It's cool because they sell like little like 100-gram bags of coffee, so I can bring them in. I can roast 2 batches, cup them, and it's a good time. So that's where I've been. So
where I was going with that with you is that you were nice enough to bring us this box up. Where was this from again?
This is geisha? A Guatemalan geisha from La Cabra. Oh man, I can't even read it, but whatever.
Yeah, that's okay.
It's very light, little bit floral, just more lemon tea kind of flavors.
So going back to you and what Colton was doing, I'm not surprised, but like I'm glad to see that you're still like trying out like new coffees from different roasters or from like different suppliers. Do you still like, are you still heavily, because we were talking before, and I know your life's busy and so is mine, but we have the luxury of doing like this kind of stuff here at work, or after work or during lunchtime. Do you find yourself kind of doing like some of that stuff that Colton does here, like just continuing your love for coffee and like the search of like a good cup or anything like that? Like, how do you find time to do that? When do you do it? How do you do it? You obviously do it because you're buying different coffee.
Yeah, great question. I mean, when I have a day off, I usually spend my entire day off answering text messages and phone calls about work, and doing laundry. But when I can work in personal time, I still love going to coffee shops, especially like in Carlsbad, Oceanside, Encinitas, and just trying to find, not searching for one specific thing like a blueberry, but just like finding something that like makes me excited. For a long time there at our shop on pour over, I kind of just offered whatever our roasting partners had. I wasn't going out of my way to get any wholesale beans from anyone else, because it was just like, it was easy. They had the stuff and it's all good. Like I've never had a bad coffee from one of my suppliers, but me and my boss Sadi and like pretty much everyone that I work with started going to Necessity Coffee in Encinitas. And just some of the beans that we were having from there on espresso, on flash brew, on pour over, on like any way they make it, were just like blowing our minds. Like we haven't had such easy access to such interesting coffees. Like you're talking about, like carbonic maceration, like co-ferments, stuff like that. And it was around Christmas time. I bought you a strawberry co-ferment from them. And
so good.
I bought it for you just off of someone's recommendation. I'd never been to Necessity before. And then I just kept thinking about it. And I was like, I got to go there and got to try some of that. Had it on flash brew, totally changed everything. And I'm like, I didn't know this kind of coffee was accessible near us. And so what I've been doing with our pour over menu as of late, I think, Colton, I've made you a couple different fun things.
Yeah, for sure.
We had like a nitro maceration Colombian that was the fastest pour over we've ever sold. Like we went through 2 5-pound bags in no time compared to any other pour over we had. We're not a very pour over heavy cafe. Like that's not what the people that come in are usually interested in, but it's what a lot of the workers that are there are interested in. And so when we found Necessity and we'd been going there for so much, like in our free time, I was just like, I've got to get these at the shop. And there was one day where I had tried that strawberry co-ferment where, you know, the coffee is fermented with strawberries, the raw coffee is. And then the owner, John, had told me, like, I've got a blueberry co-ferment coming in and it's going to blow you away. And I was like, I'll be here. The second it dropped, I went there and I was like, I've got to have it. And so the second that nitro maceration ran out, which was very fast, I scrambled to get that blueberry on bar the next day. And yeah, it's also going so fast.
Do you currently have that?
Right this moment, yeah.
It's
almost out though.
If you save me some,
text that at you right now. No, I'm just kidding.
Legit, like, please.
For what? Well, you want some?
Some blueberry coffee.
You want some? I'll send.
I will come in and I will buy it.
I got you.
Please.
That's awesome. I'm so intrigued and jealous of the amount of, like, not that I don't kind of pursue like the knowledge and like the skill of crafting good coffee or like the appreciation of it, but I live through like Colton and Nate and you to an extent of like being able to try this good coffee. Like I'm almost working off a cheat code where I don't really need to put in the effort because a lot of my surroundings already kind of you do that for me.
Right.
So I like kind of reap the benefits of that, even though like I'm not really putting in the work, which I feel like I should. I should start. Like I was at the press the other day and they had like a really good Ethiopia, like a seasonal Ethiopia that was anaerobic natural processed. And that ran out pretty quick too. They actually ran out. I tried 2 times to go back to go get it, but they didn't have it.
It's very good.
It was a little roasty for me.
Yeah,
I would say.
I thought it was good. Yeah,
but yeah, I was like, you probably could have went lighter on that roast.
Also,
a little more gentle.
Yeah. So you know it. See, that's the thing. Like you guys know it. You heard of it, and so I was like, oh, do I even have to put in the work, or could I just like piggyback off you guys? You know. So it's not like I'm jealous. I'm just like, maybe I should start putting in like some more effort into it and like just kind of doing my own research and maybe get Colton excited about something I found or Nate something excited about like something I found.
Yeah,
you know?
it's what keeps me excited. Like I love dealing with customers. I love resolving conflicts with employees. I love, doing every part of my job, ordering everything. But like the exciting thing is like I went to Steady State and it was just an unassuming honey processed Colombian. And I like honey processed coffees, but this one tasted like watermelon candy. Like it tasted artificial. Like it tasted fake.
Yeah.
Like you would have thought it was like a watermelon co-ferment the way it tasted, but it wasn't. It was just a honey processed Colombian. And it blew my socks off.
That's the one you gave me, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
So
and
good.
I gave I sent in a wholesale inquiry so that I could get that in my shop, but it was already sold out. And I was
my
like,
God.
I wanted it.
I also appreciate the culture around coffee in San Diego and Riverside County, and just like the back and forth, and like you could find so much good coffee around our area.
So much.
It's we're like so lucky to have it, because I lived in Chicago or the Indiana area, and I visited the East Coast area, and they're very like diner coffee, Folgers coffee specific.
Yeah.
That they didn't really get a touch. They're only getting, like, in my opinion, even now, like the IPA and like the microbrew fad of things over there, where San Diego is like almost feels like it's come and gone a little bit.
Yeah. If it's not a triple IPA at this point, it's like, who even are you as a brewer?
Right. And so like right now, like the coffee market here in San Diego, or just like the coffee culture, coffee community is like growing at an all-time high.
It's so true. Like my sister-in-law and brother-in-law were in town from Michigan. They just bought a house near Flint. They're nurses and doctors, and they were here, and they're just like trying to pack in as many coffee shops as they could, but like they could only drink so much coffee in one trip.
Yeah.
But they're like, you just don't understand how lucky you are to have this many high quality shops with high quality beans in such a small area. I mean, even when we're just talking about like Oceanside, Carlsbad, Encinitas, like you just go down Coast Highway right there, and you could go to 6 like really high quality solid shops, like from beans to espresso to customer service, like solid shops, and that's not this case everywhere.
You could legit just go on vacation for a weekend and just have coffee every day.
Yeah,
go on just
you
a
really
coffee
can.
Vacation.
Well, tell them about, just before we move on, the jasmine. Was it jasmine one that you found?
Lavender,
yeah.
Oh, so I brought that into you last week and showed you the one that I had you smell, the green.
That green smelled insane. Like just the green, I was like, whoa,
dude. Lavender. Yes, I do have some, and I need you to cup it because it's delicious.
We'll
it's like
swap
a lavender
the
bomb.
blueberry for the jasmine.
Down.
Yeah. See,
Yeah.
I love that stuff. I love this stuff, dude.
Yeah,
It's
dude.
just-
I mean, everybody was trying it. We had like 4 cups on the table, and we were just like trying it. I felt bad because we have Gavin who's doing a roasting competition right now. So we were like, okay, let's cup Gavin's, and then I'll just throw like this one that I roasted real quick in there. And these were like really good. Like they'd really be good like separately. But then you had like my lavender bomb at the end. It was like, oh my gosh. So then it was like everybody was like, oh, this is good, this is good, this is good. And then they had this one like,
Whoa.
bruh.
Yeah.
I hate when I'm cupping and there's like one like super standout coffee that just overshadows everything. Like I was cupping a couple lychee co-ferments from Colombia, and then there was a Oaxacan Mexican washed coffee, and then this anaerobic geisha, and like, you know, the lychees were good, but it was just, I don't really like lychee. And then the Mexico is like, it's good, but against those flavor bombs, it's like, it's a lot more nuanced. But then that geisha was like, oh my gosh, it just overshadowed everything. I'm like, I can't stop thinking about this one coffee.
Yeah.
I've tasted coffees like that. One of them being at Steady State. I think it's called like Space Traveler or something like that.
Good
That
one.
one I love. But we kind of like touched up upon, I'm just looking at our notes, some of your favorite coffees. I did want to ask something. Oh, so you brought up that you and your team every now and then go to like coffee shops to go cupping. And you guys get very excited about a cupping that you guys do, or that you try to get into your shop. Would you say a lot of people that come into your shop, and I think you just said this, I think you said like the pour over that you had that only lasted 10 pounds and blew out right away, was most of that excitement through like your coworkers and just getting it on like their breaks or whatever? Or do you see like a lot of people like as excited as coffee as you guys are come into your shop and try like the coffees that you guys offer? Do you guys kind of get that niche from like the people that come into your shop, or is it like more like family, like, oh, I just want to go get like a latte, blah blah blah?
It's there's a portion, and I've just noticed there's the ones that are coming in for the pour overs. I just could see that if I would have like 2 washed coffees from anywhere, like no matter how good they were, if I had something natural on there, the natural would sell quicker. And I'm like, okay, they kind of like the funkier, more in your face flavors. And then I brought in a Sumatran that was fermented for 25 days, and like that is like for me, it's a tough drink. Like it's really good, but I can only have it every once in a while. It's very in your face.
Yeah.
But like the people loved it.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like a 50-50 where like me and all my coworkers are making flash brews and stuff behind bar like crazy and just being like, oh my gosh, this is insane. Or like I'm bringing in something I got from Steady State. My boss brought in something from the Coffee and Tea Collective in San Diego. My other coworker brought back some stuff from his shop in Portland. And like we're all just like making flash brews and being like, oh, this one's nuts. Or like, oh, check out this anaerobic Vietnamese coffee. Like there's definitely stoke from us. And I think when it comes to the customers where you can tell that they're more open, even the ones that don't get pour overs, the ones that you can tell are open to something like that, when our stoke is shared with them on these coffees and someone's like, what's this Colombian co-ferment? And I'm just like, bro, you've never had a coffee that tastes so much like blueberries and acai in your life.
So you got 10 minutes?
I was like, you got 5 minutes for a pour over and 10 minutes for a conversation?
Seriously.
Because, so it's like, it's 50-50. Like, I could tell our customers are open to it. And I think the other half of it is they're stoked that we're stoked on something. Yeah.
Is there an age gap that you see, like, of people that are buying, like, the newer age coffee? Like, do the younger people, are they getting into it, or is it...
Good question.
There's like I would say a big portion of our demographic would be like college age.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
People.
Yeah.
And so some of them are like down with that. I just made one for someone the other day and they were interested in it, but I could tell they were kind of on the fence, and he was like, yeah, it's really good. I wouldn't drink this every day. And I'm like, I get you, but you know, at least you tried. No, our age, like 30s, 20s. But there are some of the older folks that come in and they're like, yeah, I would love to try this blueberry co-ferment. That sounds really good. There's a couple of them that like good. That.
Yeah.
So it's mainly the people our age, but it does translate to some older people too.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Yeah, because I would expect, like, I mean, think about like someone in their 50s, 60s. They're drinking coffee their whole life, you know, and then they've been through the stages of third wave, and now we're like kind of, let's be honest, we're like in the fifth wave already. So they've been drinking like Folgers their whole life, and then they go to a coffee shop and they try a pour over of something, and they're like, this is rotten.
Yeah.
Something's wrong.
I mean, there are for sure the older folk that are just like, I want my hot black Americano extra hot.
Yeah.
Like there's always going to be that. And there's nothing wrong with it. Like we make drip just for you. Like it has a very approachable profile, just medium, chocolate, little roast.
Yeah.
That's it.
You have to accommodate everybody. That's one thing in business that you learn quick is don't be the. I mean, you can be, I guess, but you're just going to saturate some of the market and leave out some of the others. So.
Yeah. Well, we were talking about it before the show, but we recently had like this thing with our espresso that kind of opened our eyes to, like, we can be stoked on something and really love it, but that doesn't mean it's going to translate to everybody. So our roaster does a new seasonal blend for espresso every season, and when we switched over to them for all of our other beans, their spring espresso was very similar to what we had on espresso before, so there was no one even noticed a change really.
Right.
But when it came to summer, it was a 50% natural Chinese coffee and a 50% washed Kenyan, and I really love. It's really good. I love the way it tastes. But when you have the people that are coming in and they get their vanilla latte with oat milk, like that's what they get every time. They don't want to try a pour over. They don't want drip. They just want their vanilla latte with oat. A lot of people got really disappointed that that the thing that they spent $7 on or whatever the price is, like, doesn't taste the way that they wanted it to.
Yeah.
And so we learned a really tough lesson with that.
Yeah.
With you have to cater to everybody. It's not just about what I think is tasty or what my boss thinks is tasty. Like Like my pour overs, the people that are ordering that, they know what they're getting into.
Yeah.
But the people that are getting their vanilla lattes, like they don't want to taste the natural elements of that Chinese coffee in their drink. They just want like your standard medium roast, or even they like dark roast, like in their espresso.
Right.
Yeah. I think Colton could attest to this better, and maybe you could give me on some insight on it, because I think I know if this is true or not. But Brian who owns this, he's our boss.
Yeah.
Owns the roasters is what I mean. When he roasts all of his coffees, and he roasts them to like very diligently and with precision to taste, meaning like he likes to be consistent. When there is like a different blend, when we have for like our breakfast blend, he always tries to match the note or the flavor to what has already previously existed. Is that true?
Yeah.
That's the thing about, I think, is when you make a product, and I would assume especially for a coffee shop more so than us, but for a coffee shop, when you make a product and people love it, and with the coffee market changing or some harvest changing every now and then that could alter those notes, or the roast levels could alter those notes, you almost kind of have to put in the effort of like, okay, trying to match something that tastes similar to what you're already producing, because people go back for that specific espresso blend or that specific coffee because they like it. So when it changes, they're like, what the heck is going on?
Yeah.
Is that true? Like, Brian does that, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, he leans on like just like the same standard generic like profile that a medium dark coffee should be. You know, you want those notes that are chocolatey and kind of like good cereal notes, and maybe caramel in there, something like that, brown sugar. That's like what you want out of a good medium roast that, you know, you serve with milk. Because like Cameron's saying, like you switch it up to a fun coffee like that, something that would be really good is like a bright Americano or something like that. It's like if you put a bright coffee in milk, it's just going to taste sour. And then you put flavoring on top of that, and it just tastes wrong. You know, even me making a vanilla latte would not use that coffee.
Yeah.
I wouldn't enjoy it. I mean, maybe I would, but I lean on exactly like just a standard breakfast blend coffee when it comes to my lattes.
Yeah.
I figure it's all about the base that you set.
So we certainly learned from that. We bought another grinder so that we have a standard espresso blend that's a medium roast, and it's never going to change. And that's used for all of our sweet drinks that have sweetener, or it's for the people that don't want fun espresso. We have our fun rotating seasonal espresso for Americanos or unsweetened drinks like plain lattes, cortados, macchiatos, whatever.
Yep.
And then we have decaf. And it was a big learning lesson because we tried education, like saying like, oh, this coffee is actually very interesting because it's this. It's different, but like, you know, it's still really good for this reason. But your older customer, and it's not even just older customers, it was a lot of people. And if they come in to do their work, they want their vanilla latte to taste like their vanilla latte. They don't want it to change 4 times a year.
Yeah, no way.
They just want that consistency. The same thing that they want consistently a space to sit down that they know is quiet, that it has a cool vibe, that has nice people, that has a place where they could charge their laptop and get their work done. Like it's all in the same realm.
Right.
Yeah, and that's that's big for you guys. I mean that's part of the business, right? You learn and you go, and you move forward, and you get better as you go. And you gotta unfortunately make mistakes every now and then, even though that mistake is not that bad. It was good. It was good coffee.
I still drink quad iced Americanos every single morning with that fun coffee because it's really good.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be sad to see it like switch over to the fall blend whenever that happens.
Blend.
Yeah.
Nice.
Back to, well, I mentioned that we were talking equipment. This is another life kind of thing I wanted to catch up with you on, is we were talking equipment last 2 episodes rather, and I know you had a pretty good setup. Colton, I shared his setup with him, or his setup with the audience. Nice brew bar that he has now. He made me coffee when I was over at his house. But I know you had a brew bar too, or just like a little setup in your apartment that was pretty impressive. But last time I spoke to you, I think you were trying to get rid of some of that stuff. Are you still? Do you have it still?
I still have everything.
Yeah.
Yes.
Keep it. I want to. At that time, I really wanted to ditch all that stuff and just jump headfirst into roasting at home.
Mm-hmm.
I've come to realize what I have and how great it is.
Yeah.
And I can't remember last episode if I was complaining about how much espresso I make at work and how much I don't want to make espresso when I go home because I don't want it to feel like work.
You weren't complaining. You were just saying like, yeah, you get the coffee at work and then you go home and you just
that
don't
was
want
just
to make coffee.
that was so lame of me to say because there's no like single dose grinder at work to like if something like this, like that geisha, if I want to try that on espresso, which I had one shot of that pulled great, it's so fun.
Yeah.
And I lost that for a while because I was so dialed in at work, but I've been rekindling my love for my setup. I'm very happy with it. I've missed it. It's missed me.
Yeah.
And we're having a lot of fun.
Okay,
Again.
so you're not trying to get rid of it.
I'm not leaving.
Yes.
It's not leaving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm keeping it.
Could you
Awesome.
enlighten us on what it is that you have, like just your setup very quick? Because
Yes.
I want to know too.
So I have a Lilith Bianca V3.
Lilith. Yeah.
Italian, I believe.
Lele.
Yeah. Oh, she's a beautiful machine.
Is her name Bianca, or is it like that's the model name?
That's the model.
Oh, I thought you like named her Bianca.
I mean,
It's
you
like,
know,
dang, exotic.
Bianca. Yeah, so it's a Lilith Bianca V3. I have a niche zero grinder that I use mainly for the espresso. I also have a Lagome Mini that I use for espresso sometimes, mostly filter. Yeah.
He on that the in-game equipment.
Yeah, I had such bad acquiring syndrome when it came to coffee stuff, and I was listening to you talk about your Gadget Classic Pro that I sold to you, and I was like, we probably talked about it before. I could have been as equally as happy with that right now if I just like knew what I had, you know, and if I just didn't care about the way things looked and like how much money I could spend on this setup to make it the coolest it's ever been. You know, like that guy's just so nice. And hearing you talk about it, it pulls good shots. I know it does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the mods that you do to it, like anything that you do to it is like you get such a good return on that.
I'm in the middle of like that kind of, because I'm looking at a Escasio.
Ooh.
Those are like really beautiful looking, and it looks like
nice.
it's user friendly, at least for like the my stage or like my skill level, you know. And like I was talking to Colton about it, and I was showing him like I was thinking about getting this. I could sell my Breville, and I made some money just doing other stuff here and there. And I was talking to him, and Colton's like, "Get it, or do it, dude, do it." I was like, "But do I want to do it?" Instigator, dude.
Yeah, that's probably why Cameron jumped on that.
Yeah.
I feel like you were the opposite. I would come in like every day, like, dude, I got to get this new filter basket. You see it, and the holes go all the way out to the edge, and you're like, I don't know, man. You got some really good stuff. You
might
could just
wanna lay
enjoy
off
it
for a little bit.
I think it was like the opposite with me.
Yeah. But anyways, like I'm trying to like pull the reins on like my excitement for this, because what I have at home and it works well. I can make a good espresso. At least I know I could be tons better, but even like with a grinder, if I get a proper grinder, I can make a better espresso. But like the aesthetic wise of like espresso machine, the name of an espresso machine is like, do I really need it right now? Like when the Breville is working so good for me. So I'm like kind of like in the middle of that stages of like, okay, do I need an upgrade? Do I not need an upgrade? Do I just need a grinder? Do I just grind at work? Blah, blah, blah. So
What are your thoughts? What would you have Ed do in this scenario?
what would you guide me?
I mean, he's got the people surrounding him, right? He's got something at home that works.
Yeah.
But then again, you know,
If you find yourself wanting more out of the espresso you're pulling at home, in any way, if it came to steaming, if it came to flavor, if it came to, you know, setup, workflow, anything, then I say you should buy it.
Yeah. The steaming part is like the big thing that's like catching my eye, because the steam on the Breville sucks.
Yeah.
Compared to like some of the stuff that I've used just since working here. So that's like what's really making me like pushing me towards getting a new espresso machine is just the steamer alone.
And you guys have been doing like latte art competitions here and stuff.
Mm-hmm. And that would help me.
It makes a big difference.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll do it. I don't know. I'll make a decision here in like the next couple weeks.
And Ed's on the oat milk game, so like he really needs good
You really
steam
need
pressure.
that steam.
Yeah, dude. Do it. Lactose intolerance.
Do it.
Another thing I wanted to ask is, and I have this on my notes. I was just thinking like, so when I was trying to prepare for our podcast today about by listening to the previous podcast we did with you, and you said that you started at Abode February of last year. Nice cut. Not this year, but last year. So you already been there more than a year, which is crazy to think about for me. Like if just thinking about it, I was like, geez, you've been more than a year there already.
Yeah, it's like a year and a half.
Since starting there now, or like since starting there until now, you guys have done, to me, just by like following you guys done it seem like so much in like such a short amount of time. Like, is there room for growth? And I'm not like, this is not like a dogging section or just like you're doing too much kind of like poking at you, but because I know there's a lot more to do, like you're talking about a latte art competition. But what are the next steps for Abode? Because you've been there the whole time, and you guys done like Galentine's, you guys done house parties, I think you guys said you're selling wine now at nights or something like that, right? You guys done events.
Working on it.
You added to the shop. What's next for Abode? Like where could you go from here?
Yeah, I mean, there's so much excitement, exciting things.
Yeah, I'm sure you can't tell us all, but whatever you can tell us.
So there's some things under wraps we're working on that are really fun. But for example, we have a vintage market coming up in 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be the same vendors that we always have because we love them and they're really awesome. But I recently heard that we had like over, I think it was 60 different inquiries about people wanting to be vendors there.
Oh, like to participate?
Yeah. And like, I feel like our vintage markets are some of the cooler things that we do because it brings in so many people, and not even from a business perspective. It's more just like we get to connect with so many people around a thing that we all love, which is like thrifted denim, like vintage goods, like cool things from cool people we like. And we just get to like, I love our events because it's like such a community building thing. Mm-hmm. And if we have that many people that are wanting to be a part of it, like we could take up the whole parking lot with just different vendors. And it could be something that's like much bigger than Abode, you know? Because right now it's going to live on our patio, which is pretty big, but like we know that we can take over the side parking lot with vendors and stuff.
Yep.
What's stopping us from that?
What is stopping you from that?
Just haven't gotten
vintage
there
days at Abode.
Yeah.
Put me on the spot, dude.
But yeah, like that's one thing. The wine bar that we're putting together is still in works. Like that's another thing of building community around natural wine, which is like, I'm not huge into wine, but I've been getting into these natural wines just because it's so cool, the stuff I've been learning about wine. A lot of it's very similar to coffee.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And like that is awesome. Bringing in craft beer to Abode when we do like a vintage night market or the things like Galentine's or like any other event. Being able to have craft beer that I'm stoked about.
Triple
on tap.
IPAs?
Quadruple IPAs, double hazies. I mean, like we'll get as IPA'd as you want. Mega IPAs. I've had one of those before.
Don't even know what that is.
It's disgusting, but it's like there's so many things we can do, and we even like we put on smaller scale events too. Like we on 4th of July we had a 5K that we ran with our boss's trainer.
How'd you do?
I was working, unfortunately. It's fortunate for them because they know I would have beat them all, gotten first place. But I wish I could have been out there, but I was behind bar.
Yeah,
so
bro.
They don't want to embarrass anybody.
You're
I
quick,
know.
dude.
Yeah, I'm glad that they didn't have to witness my speed.
Yeah.
They probably would have felt sick by how fast I was. But
Right.
just even small things like that. We love putting on stuff like that because even that's just like a small community of the runners that come into the shop and they see something like that and like. It was a solid group of like 50 people, and we were not expecting that many people.
Yeah.
So even just small things like that can grow into something so big, and that's the kind of stuff that excites me is the community stuff.
That's awesome. And then we've talked about that on the episode about like not just being like a really good coffee shop, but what can you do for your community and like what things can you do to be creative with the community, and like that's huge. I love that stuff. It's like, it's awesome.
As far as like your team goes, so Colton has been very proactive about team building, and I think you just mentioned that even a little bit ago with like the cupping and like you mentioned Nate and Gavin and me and DJ and whoever else is here. Like you hold like these latte art events, like very mini ones. The team building here has been growing. I think even like before, like since I started working here, I think you've just been trying to make more of an effort to just like, because this is, I don't know if you know this, but the team that we have now, I think has been the longest run team that we may have ever had. Yeah. Meaning like nobody has come and nobody has gone. It's just been us.
I've noticed that like
8 months.
It's been the same team for a while.
Yeah. And that's I think that's a testament to how you manage and just like your presence here, and like people don't want to leave, and we don't need more people because we're doing the work that we need to on a daily basis. But because of that, it just feels like it's been pushing you to do like some kind of like more team building, because we see each other as much as we see our own family. So in a way we are family, and I think you put an emphasis on that. So my question to you is, and it's going to jump to you because I want to know what Abode does, but is that the reason why you started doing like all this team building stuff, is because of like we have such like a solidified team now?
Yeah, I just think like we do work a production based job, and we are the only ones in the building. We don't have customers walking in or anything, so it's like, all right, well, why not have, I mean, we are a family owned business, why don't we make it feel like a family owned like employment team thing, you know? And I did have a conversation with my brother, which actually sparked all this stuff, and he's like, hey man, like I know you guys have like a lot of people going in and out all the time. He's like, he listened to like a podcast. He's like, you know, you should do some things like build up your team and like keep people more stoked and like get people involved. And of course you can't like, we don't, it is production based and it's hourly, and it's like get like do your work and then go home. But it's like, you do have to create that space of, there should be a little bit of fun, you know, outside things, and get creative and do what you can, and still keep it professional. So I just try doing like small things like this to keep people like more excited. And like I do want to push like the coffee education, like with cuppings and outside events like roasting competitions and coffee fest that we're going to at the end of the month and things like that. I want to like get people stoked about the industry that we're in, rather than just be like, hey, come in, fill some coffee in and go home. Like, you know, because then you do have a lot of people coming in, going out, and you don't really build a structure. And of course we were building that structure with like half of our employees while the other ones were coming and going. So it's like, so I just wanted to have it be like a team thing. And, you know, of course you are going to have those people that are still coming and going. They don't really give a dang about coffee, but they do love the place, right? So they do their work, but they're not really interested in the outside stuff. But for the people that are and catch on and want to learn more, then heck yeah. So I just want to keep people excited and keep that environment just like happy and healthy. And
it's been really cool. It's been really cool to see, like specifically with Gavin, like his roasting competition. Like I don't know if he even expected like you and Brian to be so into it with him. Yeah. Because like when he mentioned it, I was like, oh yeah, that's a pretty cool idea. I'm glad they're doing that. And I was telling him like before he even enrolled in it, I was like, well, you should do that. You for sure should do that. Like, I told him, I was like, you should even bring it in here and like ask Brian like for advice, or ask Colton. A week later, Colton was telling me, Brian's like, we got to win this thing. How are we going to win? How are we going to win this thing? You know? So like Brian's getting involved, and Colton's helping him out, and we done cuppings for Gavin. And I think he just like, I think he appreciates that. I could tell that he appreciates it, and I think it's just like another good like team building thing. Even though like I'm not really involved with it, or DJ is like, or even Nate, but like being able to like see you guys participate in it and knowing like you guys are our family, and then you guys are doing something for Gavin who is newer here, but like it builds him up. Like we could just see like, oh yeah, you guys really care about your employees, and you're like trying to build them up and help them win this thing, like be successful in it. Yeah, which is really cool to see.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, it's cool when you can just like push somebody to be their best self and get excited about their job. And like even today, he's like, hey man, he's like, so I got the email from Hasia about the award ceremony on Saturday night. He's like, I want to. He's like, they gave me an extra like invite. He's like, I want to extend that to you. I was like, I'll freaking be there, bro. Like, cool. Let's go. Like, I'm gonna support you. I'll be there. And next day we're going to Coffee Fest. So
yeah, I'm so glad. Yeah, that's really cool. And I wouldn't have suspected him to even like invite anybody else besides you, because you've been helping him so much. But going to Abode, I know you have mentioned that you guys go to, well, I know I follow Abode's Instagram, and I follow you obviously, and Sarai, and not Gavin yet, but I should, because I really like his work. But I know you guys are pretty tight. At least it seems like you guys are tight, and you guys do stuff together. You go to baseball games, or you said you go to like different coffee shops. How do you guys team build? Like, do you guys have like a solidified group? Are you guys pretty good about like not having so much turnover and just like making sure employees are happy, and just doing stuff like other than holding events like at work? Like, do you guys try to make time outside of work to do stuff together?
Or how about this? Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good.
But like, what do you do?
Yeah.
Because I feel like, Abode's its thing, but I know it's also because of you.
Yeah.
So what are you doing?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of props to my bosses, Carla and Sadi. Like they do a lot. They are like really the string holders, you know, like they give me the ability to do what I want, which is like amazing. We have like such a tight group. It like me, Sadi, and Tabby. Like I love those fools, and like we're always like trying to do stuff together. Like, oh, we have like Sadi lives like 5 minutes away from me, so
nice.
She's just like, hey, I'm making Peruvian food for Gavin's birthday. Like, come on over. I was like, sick.
She Peruvian?
No, but he really likes ají
de gallina?
Yeah.
I made that the other day.
She made it the other day, and it was fire.
What the heck?
It was so good. I meant to tell you.
You want a cook-off or what?
Dude, she's coming for you because it was really good. But yeah, like just dinners together where it's like we're not talking about work. We're just like talking to each other because we love each other. Or they are a lot more on like Instagram and like finding spots that are like really sick, like cool coffee shops I've not known about, or especially with them, like they're big foodies. So she really pushes me out of my comfort zone to go try like new foods, new experiences that I wouldn't try myself. Like I wouldn't seek that out, but like I've had such a good time trying like different foods and stuff. And then when it comes to like outside of that group of 3 people, I really try my best to like, we'll include another employee. Like it was us 3, and then we brought another employee along to go have some food. Another time we'd bring along another employee and be like, hey, like let's all hang out together. Or when we're having those dinners, we're like, hey, like invite him over, like invite them. Or like on my days off, I'm like, hey, Thomas, hit me up if you're like free this morning, like let's go get coffee. Or I'll go to Encinitas with my coworker Evan. We'll like try out Necessity from them. Just different things like that, like really just hanging out outside of work in any way that you can, whether it's as small as dinner or as big as like a nearly Michelin star meal. Like it's all those little things of just like hanging out together, not thinking about work, that like really keeps. I feel like we've had a really solid team for a while. We recently hired 2 people, but that's just because like we're growing, hard. So, but we've had like, this is like the best team we've ever had. It's so awesome. Like I love working with each and every one of them. Each one of them has like their quirks that I love working with, you know, like it's so fun. Like we have a high schooler right now. She's 17, and just like hearing high school drama again is so fun. Like
So mid.
it's, dude, you don't remember like how the littlest things would be like the biggest drama until like you talk to a high schooler and they're like, can you believe this girl did this? And I'm like, I can believe it, but it's just funny how much you care. Like it's so fun working with her, because this stuff she says, I'm just like, I'm 25, but she makes me feel so old.
That's how I feel. That's how I felt when I started working here with you. And like with Nate, I always forget he's like 22 years old. I was like, dude, like, holy crap.
Decade younger.
It's so fun, man. Like your team is everything, you know. And it's like here when you're doing things like little latte art competitions, like it may seem small, but like that bond is like the biggest thing. And it's like you don't always see it happening in the moment, but like you're building those little inside jokes. You're like building those memories of like, oh dude, can you believe he messed up this art? Or like, you know, stuff like that. I don't know, you know. It's those little things mean a lot.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I see it in a lot of our, especially like the young guys like Gavin and Nate. Like I see it a lot in them, like how excited they are that like Colton's around, or that I'm around, or like even Brian, like he helps out every now and then. Like I was saying, he wants to win this competition for Gavin, or wants to help him at least. So it's like it is kind of rewarding, even though like I'm not a manager here, but I do get to help. Even Titus, and you know Titus, like I get to tell him, like he asks me for advice like very freely, very openly now, and like I love talking to him because he's also young, and he also keeps me young in a way. I mean he's a man of little words. But still, like, even being around him, he's like, oh, yeah, I forget how, like, I was that age before, and I was trying to talk up to somebody or, like, be around somebody that's been around the block or has some kind of wisdom. But, yeah, it's cool. I think it's, like, a very important thing that people forget about. Just, like, you guys, you're a family, and you're in this together. You're trying to build something up, and you're trying to collaborate into making some kind of effort in being in a workplace. Like, you got to do something outside of work. You got to be some kind of friend as opposed to like a coworker. So I always thought that was very important. I just wanted to know how it was at Abode, because I know how it's like growing over here, and I've been getting stoked about it. So I'm glad you guys are doing it too.
And I mean, again, all the credit to Suddy. Like she doesn't get enough credit. Like everything that she does is to like give me more room to do what I gotta do to like make her vision happen for the shop. Like it's really a great like business relationship, but also like such good friendship. Like it's so sick. I mean, even when I was working here, like, you know, you're talking about how production can be like monotonous at times, and like it's just like it's packing coffee, but it's the relationships, it's the people that are around you that like make it what it was. Like working with you guys was the freaking best. I miss you guys. Like every time I see you, I'm like, man, I miss seeing those guys every day. And just
likewise.
It was good times.
You gonna cry? I mean, question.
I don't cry.
How do you say it?
Sarai, does she have a hard-boiled egg with her ají de gallina?
Yep.
Okay. Just checking.
He's checking your work.
I'm going to post my dish, because I literally made that last week.
I have a picture of it, and I'll show it to you too. And it was a really nice photo. So
potatoes?
Yep.
Just checking.
All
right, so that was having Cameron back, and we know we're gonna have you again. Because
buddy.
We love you, and so happy that you were able to join us. I always love seeing you. I know you and I behind the scenes were saying we got to catch up more, and we do, but life gets crazy. But you know, that never deters me from like always thinking about you, because like Colton, you like mean a lot to me as far as like a friendship goes, because it's so easy to be around you, like it is easy for me to be around Colton and be at his house and be around his family and being around you and your wife and your dog. It's you know how much
I love you so much, bro. Every time I see a Toyota Camry or see a post about the Chargers or hear a new Kendrick Lamar song, like you're the first person I think of, man.
For sure.
And you too, Colton. Anytime I see a Subaru or, you know, see people from the mountains that look like you were your brother, I'm just like, man, I miss you guys so much.
Anyways, another fantastic episode. Signing off. See you next week. Peace.